What's up, Dog Nation? It's Monday, February 17th. Here to talk about a little bit of Georgia football. Wrap up a couple of thoughts on the 2024 season and talk about and preview a little bit of 2025. It's been a while since I've made a video, man. It was a combination of things. It took a while for me to get over losing to Notre Dame that way, and then, man, I just hate Ohio State. It just did not sit well with me. The way that Ohio State ended the regular season, how they ended up going on that run in the playoff and winning it all. It's just not something that I expected. And, I wanted Notre Dame to win that championship, not only because they beat us, but I can't even quite put my finger on what it is, why I don't like Ohio State. It's a couple different things, but I was not happy that they ended up winning it all. How that'll go down in college football memory, man, I don't know. I mean, I think anybody would be fooling themselves if they were going to say, that Ohio State was like one of the all-time great teams in the college football playoff era. I don't believe to be true. I think that team that won against Notre Dame, man, I don't think they were an elite bunch. I don't think they would have stacked up well against a lot of teams in the college football playoff era, man. I mean, just being honest, like, they lost to a horrible 5-loss Michigan team at home. Again, heavily favored, had to win that game. And they just got beat up on. They went on a run late and ended up, getting it done. So, I mean, salute to them for that, and salute to them for rallying after they lost to Michigan. But it didn't sit well. The way that we lost to Notre Dame with the offensive line just totally not showing up disgusted me. The dropped passes disgusted me. And then seeing Ohio State win the national championship just left a bad taste in my mouth for the end of this season. If Georgia would have played a decent game against Notre Dame and still lost, I would have been able to sit with that a little bit better. But I'm just not used to seeing Georgia have a month to prepare and get the rest that they have been asking for, and then find a way to lose to an inferior Notre Dame team. I'm just not used to that, man. I'm just not. So, anyways, man, I got a whole page of notes for us to talk about tonight. A whole lot of stuff to go over. Kind of just wrapping up some thoughts on 2024, man. So the Super Bowl, I could care less about the NFL. I care about the NFL about as much as I care about Georgia basketball, which is not at all. Zero. I don't know Georgia's record. Couldn't name one player on their team. Haven't watched a single Georgia basketball game in my entire life. Don't ever plan on it. Just not interested. The NFL, I'll watch it because it's on. It's a day off, and it is football. But if the Falcons lose, it's not going to bother me or ruin my day. I've been watching them lose since 1996 when I moved here. So there would be nothing new there. But I did watch the Super Bowl. And, man, I was just really what kind of struck me was the amount of good players that Kirby Smart and Georgia have put in the NFL and how many of these guys are playing at a high level. Like, it was just amazing to me to see Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Keely Ringo all play in that Super Bowl, man. And, I mean, and Nolan Smith. And to see all those guys on the field at the same time. Nakobe Dean got hurt. My heart breaks for him because, honestly, Nakobe Dean, man, when he was at Georgia, I thought Nakobe Dean was the best out of all those guys that I just named. And I think Lewis Cine might even be on that Eagles team, if I'm not mistaken. But just the fact that all those guys played together, man, and all those guys were so good. And another thing, and we're going to get into this later in the video, man, all those guys that play for the Eagles are star players. They were star players at Georgia. I mean, and I'm just sitting here looking at this list that I wrote down of guys in the NFL that are playing, not only playing, but playing well. Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Keely Ringo, James Cook. James Cook had an incredible year, man. James Cook got way better in the NFL than he ever played at Georgia. And that's just a fact. The balance and the strength he has in his core and the wiggle that he has, like, the dude actually has moves and the ability to make people miss now. Anytime anybody got close to James Cook when he was at Georgia, he was going to trip and fall down. That's just the way I feel about it. But you got Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey, man, had elite rookie seasons. Darnell Washington. A lot of people kind of forget about Darnell Washington because he gets lost in those great teams and how great Brock Bowers was. Darnell Washington's kind of a forgot about guy that was on that 2021-2022 team. He was such a big dude. To have two big tight ends that we could get on the field at the same time, both could block, both could catch the ball. Like, Darnell Washington was elite. He starts for the Steelers. He plays well. I've watched a few of his games. Really, I forgot about man off of those teams, though. And Zamir White had a great season. DeAndre Swift been balling in the NFL. You got Eric Stokes on the Packers. Quay Walker on the Packers. George Pickens. When George Pickens is out of trouble and can stay on the field, he's great. Broderick Jones, think is with the Steelers. Jamari Salyer with the Chargers. At Ben Cleveland got a DUI the other night. For the Ravens, Tyke Smith, Warren McClendon, bro, we have put some stars in the NFL. But one thing I can say about, man, all those guys that I just named, they're doing well in the NFL, but they were star players, playmakers at Georgia. And I'm just looking through our roster, man, and I said this all season last year. Who are the star players on this year's team that's coming up? Who were the star players on last year's team? I mean, Jalen Walker really is the guy that I can really name that I can say was like a bona fide superstar. But I wrote down on this piece of paper, these guys currently on the team, they got to step up, right now and be star players. No more, development, sitting back, waiting your turn, have all that potential, woulda, coulda, shoulda, maybe. No, dude. We have got to have this from these guys now. These guys have got to come on this season. We lost a lot of talent to the NFL off of a team that is not anywhere near as talented as our championship year. So this is going to be a really difficult task, man. These guys have got to step up, or this could be a rough season for us. I wrote down a big list of guys. I underlined some guys, so just bear with me. Chris Cole had a good freshman season. Ryan Puglisi or Gunnar Stockton. I wrote down either or. Listen, I thought Gunnar Stockton played really well in the Sugar Bowl, given that his O-line didn't block anybody the entire game. And he had receivers that can't catch the ball. But the video that I saw of Ryan Puglisi, or I can't even say his last name, man, but the video that I seen of Ryan in training over the summer or this off season did look really impressive to me. It wasn't on the field, didn't have on a helmet, didn't have guys coming at him, but the dude can spin the football. So either or, man, I don't care who plays quarterback. You got to step up and play at a high level, though. Colby Young, Dalen Everett, Daniel Harris, C.J. Allen, Raylan Wilson, Oscar Dell, Lawson Lucky, K.J. Bolden. I underlined him. I'll go ahead and tell you right now. K.J. Bolden, I think, has the potential to be the best player on this year's team coming up. He was phenomenal as a freshman last year. Nitro Tuggle, Nate Frazier, Christian Miller, Ernest Green, Monroe Freeling, and Xavier McLeod, Dylan Bell, and these transfers right here better step up. And Zachariah Branch, Noah Thomas, and Nate Frazier in the transfer. I just wrote them down last. But, man, these dudes, we've got to have guys step up and make plays this season. Look, I'm not going to be like everybody else that talks about Georgia football that's mainstream media, where you got to be politically correct and proper and all that. But, bro, I'm not going to do that. I'm just got to flat out say it. The wide receiver position in the offensive line last season was unacceptable. The wide receiver was so bad, it was disgusting to watch. I'm mad even just sitting here thinking about it. The fact that we had to lead the country in drops at the University of Georgia with the guys that we have brought in year after year after year, with a junior quarterback who's supposed to be the number one overall draft pick, and somehow Georgia finds a way to lead the country in drops. Well, that is disgusting. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. The way that Georgia's O-line played in 3 games this season was absolutely horrendous football and just totally unacceptable. The reason we lost the Notre Dame game is 100% on the O-line. 100%. The O-line picked the last game of their season with a month to prepare to play their worst game. Another thing I saw from last season was like, who are the leaders on this team? Like when things are falling apart, who's that vocal guy that's going to step up and rally the team? Because last year I didn't too much see it. I mean, I saw Jalen Walker some, I saw Stark some. Damn sure wasn't ever Carson Beck. Anytime Carson Beck had ever been here, wasn't a vocal leader, so it wasn't him. You had Ratledge on offense, and I got Trevor Etienne out of transfer in from Florida to lead us in rushing and be a vocal leader on offense. That's crazy to me, bro. That like last year's team, like credit to Kirby and the guys for getting to Atlanta and winning an SEC championship. But last year's team was the worst version of Georgia football I've seen since 2016. Straight up. Like after I've had time to think about it, to calm down, even though I'm getting worked up right now, just thinking about it. Like, yo, last year's team was, like, not fun to watch. Took years off of my life watching us drop passes, miss blocks, miss tackles, blow assignments, average less. If you take out the Division II teams and the scrub teams, we would have averaged 100 yards. We wouldn't have averaged 100 yards rushing last season. We were abysmal at running the football. And we're just, bro, I'm not used to that as a Georgia fan. Like, less than 100 yards rushing for Georgia is unacceptable. So these dudes that I just listed, man, they've got to step up and make plays. Like, period. We need leadership and playmakers, especially playmakers on third down, on both offense and defense. Like, you have got to rise to the occasion. Like, with the development, the conditioning, the confidence, the strength training, yo, all that's got to be happening right now. Right now. Because this season can go one of two ways. All of the things that I just said can happen. Guys can develop, get their confidence. We can come together as a team. Probably go 11-1. But if the trend continues from what I seen last season and we don't do that, this schedule can get away from you in a hurry. We could have 4 losses straight up. Like real quick on this schedule, we could have 4 losses. If guys don't step up and become that dude on offense, on defense, vocal, leadership, holding the team together, keeping the guys disciplined, keeping guys together when we get down. The leadership thing was crazy to me last season, that we just didn't have no leaders. But anyways, I underlined a couple guys, because a couple of these guys that I underlined, I think they're poised to fill in these positions. Man, Chris Cole really impressed me last year at linebacker, playing as a true freshman. They moved him all around. Really fast, really good tackler. He got on the field with a lot of experienced guys. So Chris Cole, I've got high hopes for him. This next dude, right here, yo, I've been harder on this dude than the majority of fans. There have been some guys who have said some not so nice things from up in the stands down to him throughout his career. But yo, I can't even deny, like, the second half of last season, this dude balled out. Daylen Everette balled out at the second half of last season. Man, I was hard on Daylen Everette, man, ever since he started playing. Like, dude was horrible. Like, he would not turn his head around to the football. So it meant that nothing makes me happier than to see a dude who got on the field, got beat frequently and often, be ridiculed by the fans, be ridiculed by the coaches. Just, yo, cornerback's a hard position to play, man. You're out there by yourself against some fast, tall dudes. I played cornerback. I wasn't any good. I wasn't tall. I wasn't fast. I wasn't none of that. But it's scary to be out there on the edge and you're by yourself and you know the guy across from you is better than you. But, yo, Daylen Everette hung in there, bro. He kept working. He never gave up. Never got a bad attitude. And the dude started balling at the Texas game. 2 or 3 turnovers in the Texas game. Another 2 in the SEC championship. Like, yo, Daylen Everette, if he continues to get better, can be really, really, really good this season. I'm excited for that too. Nothing makes me happier than to see, you know, guys improve and get better who Georgia fans gave a hard time. I already talked about KJ Bolden. KJ Bolden getting on the field early and often as a freshman out of Buford, man. I got to write that down too. I've got to write that down because I want to talk about Buford. But KJ Bolden getting on the field early and often as a freshman, man. Sure tackler, hard hitter. Very fast. Yo, Malachi Starks was getting beat last year more than KJ Bolden. Straight up. KJ Bolden had a better season than Malachi Starks. You saw Malachi Starks getting burned way more than you saw KJ Bolden. Who else did I underline on here? Dylan Bell. Yo, can somebody please tell me what happened to Dylan Bell last season? Somebody please down in the comments section. Can you please tell me what happened to Dylan Bell last season? Because in 2023, the dude was a star. Had 3 touchdowns by himself. 1 rushing, 1 receiving, 1 passing on the road against Tennessee. I thought he was going to be the next UGA great. And then in the Clemson game, Arian Smith infects Dylan Bell with whatever it was that he had. And Dylan Bell was just a total disaster the rest of the season. Man, Dylan Bell has got to get it together. So talented, so hard to bring down. It's just like, man, I don't know if his confidence got shook, if the whole offense's confidence got shook. Something was wrong last year with Dylan Bell. I don't know if he was hurt. I don't know if his girlfriend broke up with him. Man, I don't know. But that was shocking. Shocking to me, the regression that Dylan Bell had last season. I got Nate Frazier underlined. Just because he's our leading returning rusher. Let's not get it twisted. Like some of y'all, I just can't believe how low some of y'all's expectations have gotten at Georgia at the running back position. Like it's been since DeAndre Swift, who was an elite generational talent running back. Since DeAndre Swift, our running back talent has been nosediving. I mean, so we went from DeAndre Swift, then we had Zamir White and James Cook. They were really good. They're doing really well in the NFL. They ain't no DeAndre Swift. We went from them to Kenny McIntosh. Did we still have Zamir White? We had Kenny McIntosh and somebody else. We had Dejon Edwards at that point in time. Kenny McIntosh and somebody else, man. I can't remember. But then we go to Dejon Edwards and Kendall Milton, who weren't as good as Kenny McIntosh. And then we go from Dejon Edwards and Kendall Milton. And last year we're at Trevor Etienne and Nate Frazier. Dude, I'm just telling you guys, like, bro, as far as the Georgia running backs go, Trevor Etienne and Nate Frazier are like well below average for the running back position at Georgia. Like that's just straight up. I'm just telling you guys God's honest truth. Like I've seen good running backs. Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, DeAndre Swift, hell, Holyfield was pretty good. James Cook, Zamir White, Dejon Edwards would have been the best running back on last year's team. By far. By a country mile, Dejon Edwards was better than both of them. But Nate's got to step up. He's the best we got right now. I know that I need to see no more of Branson Robinson ever again. Never do I need to see Branson Robinson get the ball for Georgia again. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just saying, yo, he's not any good. He don't get no yards. He has no speed, has no wiggle, has no moves. Give it to Cash Jones. Give it to Nate Frazier, Cash Jones, one of the freshmen. That's my opinion on that. So these are the guys that got to step up, bro. We also need an edge rusher. Xavier McLeod really came on late along the defensive line. But the O-line, man. The O-line, man, was a disaster. A disaster. So I really have zero expectation out of the O-line going into next season. I'm hoping that they improve. You're going to have Drew Bobo at center. Who did I want to talk about on the O-line here? What happened to Ernest Green, too, this season? Dude was a decent tackle at points in his career at Georgia. I mean, was he hurt? And then Monroe Freeling had a horrible game against Notre Dame, man. But I got to give it to Monroe. When Monroe Freeling came into that Tennessee game, he stabilized the Georgia O-line up until the end. I don't know what happened in that Notre Dame game, man. I thought Texas was quite a bit better than Notre Dame. And we find a way to play our possibly worst game of the season on the last game of the season with a month to prepare. But anyways, O-line, got to improve. I don't have any expectations at all, just so I don't get mad. If they improve, great. If it's more the same, I'm going to be screaming at my computer and TV to get the offensive line coach fired. I can't even think of his name now. I'm so worked up. And then James Coley, your ass on my hot seat too, bud. James Coley should have been gone after this season. The only reason he wasn't is because of his recruiting. We've been over this before. with James Coley. Another retread coach that coached here, left, got fired wherever he was, and now he's back. Don't know why we do that. It makes no sense to me. But he brought in some kids that were pretty good receivers, 5-star guys, got to keep his job. I think he's a terrible receivers coach. I think he's a terrible offensive coordinator. I think he should be fired. So, that's what I think should happen. Bobo. A lot of you guys are on Bobo right now. Hey, listen. If Bobo was to get fired, I wouldn't be sad. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. But these two position coaches, wide receiver and offensive line, who is Stacy Searles? Yeah. Stacy Searles and James Coley should be out of there. Like, no doubt. Like, the way that the offensive line played against Notre Dame and the way that our wide receivers played this season, you should be gone, no question. So, Bobo, for me, and this is just my opinion, I know a lot of you guys feel strongly otherwise, and that's cool. You know, the offense was not good in the first half of games last season. But for me, I was willing to give Bobo one more year. Dude, the players have got to make plays. Like, at some point in time, the players have to be held accountable for missing blocks, missing assignments, not blocking the right scheme, dropping the daggone football. The drops last season killed us, dude. Like, the drops last season were bad. Oh, what else did I say? I just got more notes here. Somebody has got to step up and be a playmaker on third down. Like, one of these wide receivers has got to step up and be that dude. Has got to be Ladd McConkey, okay? If you think back to the 2023 season when Carson Beck started getting trouble on the road at Auburn, who did he go to? Ladd. Like, Ladd McConkey was that guy that you could count on over and over and over again to be open on third down. And Brock Bowers. We didn't have that last year, dude. We didn't have one reliable guy, let alone that guy. We didn't have no dudes, no threats on zero threats on offense last season, man. Like, it was that was some hard football to watch, brother. I hope I don't have to watch nothing like that again this season, because that took years off of my life. I was down there in front of that TV on my knees praying during that Notre Dame game because it was just awful. I felt terrible. And then on third down on defense, like, we lost all of our top edge rushers. All of them gone to the NFL, and then Damon Wilson transferred out. Don't know where he transferred to, don't care. But third down, we've got to have, just like we need that playmaker on third down at wide receiver, we have got to have that guy that can get home and sack the quarterback, strip sack fumbles, force pressure, force bad throws, high throws, low throws, missed throws for interceptions. We have got to cause more turnovers as a defense and get the ball out of the offense's hand next year, man. Like, we did not force enough turnovers on this defense this season. Period. That's got to change. That has got to change. We have got to go back to ripping the ball away from the other team. Like, for real. We have got to be a more aggressive, physical, lethal, punishing defense. Like, man, we've got to get back to hitting guys and knocking the ball loose. Like, straight up. I'm getting really worked up making this video. Leadership. Somebody's got to step up on this team, be a vocal leader. I don't give a damn if you want to do it or not. Like, clearly nobody on last year's team was willing to step into that role and say, hey, like, when the game is on the line, it's on me. When the guys are down, it's on me. And I'm going to step up and I'm going to say something. Somebody has got to step up and rally the team and be that guy and say something that nobody else wants to say. I mean, I don't understand that. All these 5-star dudes on this team, like, someone should be willing to get up in front of the team and say, hey, this is my team. It's my senior year. It's my junior year. I'm going to the NFL next year. I'm not going out like this, and rally the team. I did not see enough of that last season. So, let's talk about one more thing before I do the schedule prediction. Recruiting. We have got to start recruiting some better players, man. Some better playmakers. And I don't follow recruiting like super close like that, but I can look at our skill position and tell you that we are not recruiting South Florida skilled positions good enough. We just don't have the speed or the guys with the hand or the guys with the hands that can catch the ball, the wiggle, like the dangerous guys. Dude, we have got to get some dangerous, explosive guys on this team that can score the football anytime they touch it. It doesn't matter if they catch it on the one. It doesn't matter if we run a jet sweep on our own one. That guy can take it to the house. That dude ain't on the team right now. Is not on the team. We have got to get back to recruiting South Florida skill position players at these high schools. IMG, Booker T. Washington, St. Thomas Aquinas, Miami Central, Plantation, and Lakeland. Have to, man. Have to. This team right now is lacking explosive playmakers. I understand that we brought in transfers and this and that. That all sounds wonderful. They ain't done shit on the team so far. Until I see these skill position guys come in and contribute, because I've heard this story before, and nothing transpired from it. So when these guys come in, and we're 4 games into the season, and we're hosting Alabama, and Deion Branch and whoever else we got, the other wide receiver from Texas A&M, are making plays, catching up, making one-handed catches, getting first downs on third down left and right, converting fourth downs, getting open on third down, and scoring touchdowns, making really athletic, explosive plays. Nobody will cheer harder for them than me. But until they do that, I don't want to hear it on those guys. But we have got to go into South Florida and make it a priority and get these kids on campus. We just have to, bro. We have got to recruit South Florida better. And the thing about it is, we have no competition right now in Florida. It's wide open. Florida's down. Florida State's a dumpster fire. Miami's been a dumpster fire for 25 years. There is no reason that we should not be dominating South Florida right now. 285. South Georgia, really the whole state of Georgia. But inside 285, the line of scrimmage guys, the linebackers, quarterbacks, like, dude, we have got to do a better job of closing, like, the A1 talent inside the metro Atlanta area. We got to lock that down. And there's no reason we shouldn't be able to do it. No reason we should not be able to do it. We got to recruit better, man, in South Florida. South Florida, 285. Buford. Oh, that's why I wrote that down. Yo, there is no excuse for us to not be signing all the big-time guys out of Buford. It's 40 minutes from campus, and it's one of the best high school programs in all of high school football. It's nationwide. We should dominate Buford. Why we cannot form better relationships at Buford High School and sign more guys out of there is mind-boggling to me. Now that you can pay the players to come to your school, you've got to start signing these players out of Buford. They're the top 100 guys. I know that we flipped KJ from FSU, but man, before that, what do they call it? The Buford curse, where we couldn't get any big-time guys out of there? It's maddening. We have got to get the Buford problem solved. Hopefully it started with KJ and continues on. I do need to go see if we... I'm going to go see as soon as we get done with this video if we signed anybody out of Buford this year. Got to do that better. All right. Here we go. Calm down soon. Woo! Getting emotional this one. All right. So next season schedule came out. And I'm just going to go down here, man. Wins and losses. I said at the beginning of the video, we could go 11-1. We could go 8-4. It can go something in between that. But I really do believe, like, this team is good enough to go 11-1. This team is bad enough to go 8-4. I mean, I truly believe that. I truly believe that. If we don't improve from what we did last season, we're going to have a hard time going 10-2. If we do improve, the sky's the limit as usual. But if we get worse, if our O-line don't sure things up, if we don't get that figured out, if we don't get them tackle spots figured out, we're in big trouble. If we don't figure out at the wide receiver position how to catch the daggum football, we're in big trouble. If Nate Frazier can't find holes next season and we're sitting right at 100 yards rushing again, we're in trouble, dog. These trends cannot continue. These trends absolutely cannot continue. It can't, man. All right, so August 30th, we got Marshall. I got us down for a win. September 6th, we got Austin Peay. Got us for a win there. September 13th, we go to Tennessee. September 13th, going to Tennessee. Man, I just honestly am of the belief Kirby Smart's got Heupel's number. Heupel has never put up more than 14 points, I don't think, against the Georgia defense. He just has been able to lock that offense down, man. I don't know. I don't quite know what it is. I don't think Nico's that good. I think he's okay, but he's not elite. He ain't no Dobbs. He ain't no whoever that other dude was when they were good. He just is not a threat to me, man. I just unless Tennessee can pull off something miraculous from their defense and force a whole lot of turnovers, I think we beat Tennessee. We've been working them. I don't know. We've just been working them, man. Kirby's got his number. I don't know. I don't know if we're in their heads. I don't know. Here we go to this next one. Y'all are going to love this. September 27th, Alabama is a loss. All right? I am so sick and tired of losing to Alabama. I've gotten my hopes up and said we were going to beat them so many times. I picked us to lose last year. I was right. We were down 21-0 in the first quarter. So until I see Georgia beat Bama, I'm not picking Georgia to beat Bama. You're going to have to show me, because this is a mentality problem that Georgia has with Alabama. 9 out of the last 10 games we have played them, we've lost. You can't tell me Bama had a better team than Georgia 9 out of the last 10. No. Fuck no. No. 9 out of 10. Yo, that's bad, man. That's bad. You don't have a Nick Saban problem. You got a I can't beat Alabama and they're in my heads problem. Most important game of the season next year, September 27th, when Alabama comes to Athens, Georgia. Your home win streak will be on the line for that. Home win streak's going to be on the line for that. I would say must win, but I don't think they're going to win it. I mean, you can still go to Atlanta without it, so I guess it's not a must win. But for pride, man. For pride, for the state, for the fans. I'm tired of losing to these guys, man. All right, October. So what do we got? 1, 2, 3. We're 3-1 after we lose to Bama. All right. Kentucky win at Auburn. Woo! I always feel a lot better about Auburn when Auburn comes to Sanford Stadium. The times that Auburn has good seasons is the times that Auburn hosts Georgia and Bama at home. The times that Auburn does not have good seasons is the times that Auburn has to go on the road at Georgia, on the road at Alabama. Man, they don't have no quarterback, though. Like, Peyton Thorne was a freaking disaster for Hugh Freeze 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row. And then what he does, and what's wild to me is this dude should have recruited the top quarterback out of high school. Somebody in the top 100, hell, somebody in the top 200 has got to be better than what Peyton Thorne gave you the past 2 seasons. You should have had that guy behind Peyton Thorne and been developing him. Did Hugh Freeze do that? No. Nope. He went and got Buddy from Oklahoma and brought him to Auburn. Same freaking thing. A transfer portal retread quarterback. Nah, bro. I like us winning at Auburn. I like us winning at 4-1, 5-1 after Auburn. Ole Miss at home. Georgia plays good at home, man. I like the home crowd. I love Dog Nation. Dog Nation hung in there for Georgia last year when we were down at Tennessee. Hung in there for y'all when y'all showed your ass in the first half against Georgia Tech. We wanted to leave that game, too. That game was freezing ass cold. I said, we ain't leaving. I'm not leaving my team because shit gets hard. And we stayed there. My little sister damn near froze to death. She's like 115 pounds. She was an icicle. We stayed all the way till the end. Cheered you guys on to victory, man. I wasn't going to leave y'all like that, man. Love you guys too much. So I like Georgia beat Ole Miss at home, man. Ole Miss loses Jackson Dart. They lost a lot of their pass rush. I know Lane Kiffin's going to bring guys in, but they beat our ass last season, and I don't like Kirby to lose to Lane Kiffin twice. We got him at home. Kirby's got to make some adjustments. We got to play better football. I think the crowd will be fired up after we lost to them badly when we went to Ole Miss. Kirby Smart's got losing records to 2 SEC programs. Alabama by a country crock pot mile. I think he's 1-6. Against Bama, he's 1-2 against the Ole Miss Rebels. Both times we went to Oxford, got waxed. Oh, man. Tough to accept, y'all. It's reality, though. We didn't play well either time we went to Oxford. Alabama owns us. Alabama fans can say whatever they want to us right now. Alabama has forever owned the series. Alabama has forever been a better college football program than Georgia. Alabama is 9 out of the last 10 against us. So anytime an Alabama fan says anything to you, just let them say whatever they want because they're winners. Winners say what the hell they want. They just can, bro. We've got to beat them and change that. All right, again, speaking of which, here we go. This is a version of how it could turn out if things go well and we start beating Alabama like we're supposed to. At least beat them half the time and make it a rivalry. Because right now they just own us. Then the next one, the 25th, we got a bye. November 1st, the Florida Gators. My, how the tables have turned. Man, there was a portion of my life where it seemed like every Halloween you were holding your breath, even if you felt like Georgia had the better team. You knew that Georgia was going to go down to Jacksonville and play a bad game and find a way to screw up a good season and give it to the Florida Gators. And they dominated us from the 90s clear up through, right around the 2010 mark. The Florida Gators owned us. It was 18-3 in Florida's favor at one time. And I want to say the game that changed that was 2012. Aaron Murray, Malcolm Mitchell, Jarvis Jones, Todd Gurley were some heroes in that 2012 game. One of the best Georgia games I've ever watched. Georgia has now turned the tables on that. We lost to Florida in 16 and 20, I think is it. 16 and 20. Kirby's been here 9 years. Because this will be his 9th. He's been here 8 years, so he's 6-2 against Florida. That's pretty damn good, man. Georgia head coach, man. That's about as good as you can ask for. Georgia just owns Florida right now, bro. Georgia has Florida's number. Lagway's a good quarterback. They are much improved. And I'm going to be honest, we struggled with them until Lagway got hurt last season. So this game right here is the one that I put a question mark next to. Depending on how we play down there, depending on how much Florida improves, we could drop that one, man, but I like the way Georgia's been playing, so I've got it down as a win for now. I do have a question mark next to it, though, for subject to change, depending on how Florida looks like next season. I'll just have to kind of reserve judgment on that. At Mississippi State, they're a trash can. They're terrible. So Georgia will win that. Texas. Man, is Arch Manning as good as everybody says he is? I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. I don't know if he is. Anytime he got in against real competition last year, he didn't look as good. I don't know because Sarkisian didn't use him, but why didn't Sarkisian use him is what I was asking myself. Why did you not use him more as bad as Quinn Ewers played at times? If he's that good, if his arm is that live, if he's that accurate, if he's that good of a decision maker, why didn't he play more? Because Quinn Ewers struggled, man. In a lot of games he struggled. And we didn't see enough Arch Manning. So how good is he really? I don't care what his last name is. Nothing I saw from Arch when we played him made me afraid or terrified or feel like he was a threat. Jackson Dart was a threat. Lagway was a threat. Milroe was a threat. Bro, nothing I saw from Arch Manning made me say, ooh, we better watch out for that. Better watch out for that live arm. I wasn't worried. When he went in the game, I was thrilled. I got us beating Texas. I hate Texas. They're shooting up to my most hated team in the SEC real quick here. Charlotte win. Georgia Tech win. Georgia Tech blew the load last season. If Georgia Tech couldn't find a way to close that game out last year when they had us on the ropes at home in front of our fans and we're up 17-3 at half, and then I think it was it got back to being bad in the fourth quarter. I remember that. And we pull off a miracle, ended up beating them. That was heartbreaking for Georgia Tech. That's unforgettable as a coach or a player for you to have a top 10 team on the ropes like that in their house against their streak and you not be able to seal the deal. That's problems. That's problems. And we own Mercedes. Well, let me not say that, because anytime we play Bama, we can't beat them there. But, yo, in Atlanta, we're going to be fine. It's going to be an all-Georgia crowd. I'm going to go to that game. It's going to be an all-Georgia crowd, man, in Mercedes-Benz. Georgia Tech sold out to get more money to go play in Mercedes-Benz so they can pay more NIL money. Whatever, smart, because we'll come there and take over your stadium too. So you might as well get paid to get beat in front of an all-Georgia Bulldog crowd. So they moved it to the Benz. Georgia's going to win that game. So tentatively, I've got us, just as of right now, 11-1, losing to Bama. But by the time the season starts, I'm probably going to have us around 10-2. I just can't decide if I want to make it that Florida game. Because we're going to, I truly believe, even if everything happens as I would like it to and these guys step up, I just don't think we have as good of players. I don't think we have as good of coaches. You know, I think we're still good, but we're not elite like we were in years past. We've been on a steady decline since 21-22. You know, some guys left in 21. That defense wasn't quite as dominant, but I did think 22 was kind of a better defense. I think they played together better. There was less explosive plays. We had guys step up. Javon Bullard stepped up and played big. Keely Ringo stepped up and played big. Man, Jalen Carter, I'll put it that way. When Jalen Carter was in for the 2022 defense, I like the 22 defense better than I like the 21 defense, because the 21 defense got boat raced by Bama in the SEC championship and gave up, 40-something points? That was embarrassing. But anyways, man, I think we're going to go 10-2. I just can't right now pick who that second loss is going to be. But I don't think we're going to beat Bama. I sincerely don't. I'm not picking Bama to try and be an asshole or because, I'm hoping to jinx it or anything like that. Like, I honestly think Bama's going to come in there and end our home win streak. I do. I can't make it make sense in my mind why we have lost to them 9 out of the last 10. I cannot. Because we had a better roster than them in 17, 18, 21 SEC championship, and 23 SEC championship. 4 times. We should be 5-5. We should be 5-5 against them, man. 2012 was a heartbreaking one too, man. 2015, you got fucking stomped. 2020, I forgot about 2020. 2020, we got stomped. It's been rough, man. The Alabama thing is a problem. It's a bad problem that we have got to get solved. I'm sick of losing to those guys. For games that I'm going to, Tennessee, no. Bama, yes. No. Auburn, Ole Miss, no. Florida, no. Texas, yes. So as of right now, it'd be Bama, Texas, and then Georgia Tech at Mercedes-Benz Stadium right here in Smyrna. So it's only 15 minutes away from me. All right, I've been rambling on here for 43 minutes. Got a little bit worked up at times. We got to get this stuff fixed, though, man. There's stuff that we can correct. We can go out there and correct it. We got to sign some better players. Got to bring in some better guys. Got to develop them. Got to get our confidence up. I just miss those guys, man. All them guys that I named at the beginning of the video. Love Nakobe Dean. Love Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. Congratulations to those guys on their Super Bowl. But we got some work to do, man. It'll be interesting, though, to see who's going to step up for Georgia this year, because it's going to be somebody. And I do trust Kirby Smart to bring this team along, so we'll see what happens. Y'all have a good night. Go Dogs.